from war crimes overseas to police shootings right here in America, the United States government has done a lot of really, really bad things. And sometimes the response that you get from people is, well, those incidents are functions of government incompetence, not malice. And although that may be true, I'm here to tell you that not only does that not matter, intent does not matter, I'm here to tell you that incompetence alone can sometimes bring us catastrophically close to total disaster. Nothing quite illustrates that fact better than the 1961 Goldsboro B-52 crash that occurred in North Carolina in the month of January 1961. And this event was part of a wider program carried out by the United States Air Force referred to as Operation Chrome Dome. So a little backstory. During the height of the Cold War, the United States government thought that a wise approach was to keep multiple B-52 bombers with nuclear weapons aboard in the sky 24/7. So for those 7 years, there were 12 planes circling the Soviet Union, 24 total nuclear weapons in the sky at all times. And so you can see how already you can see what an opportunity this was for disaster, even short of an actual war. And disaster did happen. Of course, it could have been much worse, but the 1961 incident near Goldsboro started when one of these B-52s that was supposed to circle the borders of the Soviet Union flew out over the ocean and realized that it had a structural failure in the right wing, and this led to a fuel leak. And so the pilots did their best to lower their altitude and to lower their speed to try to control the plane. And they turned back over land in an effort to hopefully land the plane, but they failed. Before long, the plane started to break apart, and some of the crew were able to eject from the plane. I think there were 8 crew members and 5 of them made it out. So 3 went down with the plane near Goldsboro, along with the 2 Mark 39 hydrogen nuclear bombs that were on board. So the 2 bombs went down in a pretty remote part of North Carolina, and one of the bombs landed in a marshy area and was buried under many, many feet of mud and was unrecoverable until 2011. So for 50 years, this land remained contaminated, and I believe I read that the U.S. government bought a piece of land roughly the size of 2 football fields for $1,000 back in 1961, and they held on to it up until 2011 when the technology was good enough to get the bomb out safely. But, and here's why this incident is so infamous, the other of the 2 bombs had a parachute that deployed, and it landed relatively in good condition in a tree. And when the bomb was recovered, it was found that 3 out of the 4 safety switches had been tripped, meaning that the town of Goldsboro, North Carolina, came within a centimeter of total destruction, and which would have changed the course of American history forever, obviously. Now, you might hear that story and say, that sounds like a one-off. It sounds like something that probably almost never happened. And you'd be right that it never happened to this degree, other than this one time. However, there were a total of 32 incidents recognized by the United States government that occurred between the years 1950 and 1980, during which nuclear bombs were either lost or destroyed. And these incidents are now referred to as broken arrow incidents. And during those 32 incidents, over 250 people were killed, sometimes because the conventional explosives in the device were detonated, although none of them ever reached the level of nuclear detonation, obviously. So no, it was not, 32 times in 30 years, that's, at least once a year for 3 decades, this kind of thing happened. Not always on American soil, but sometimes on American soil. And no doubt if one of these incidents ever had led to a nuclear detonation, it would easily be the worst thing that the American government had ever done to its own citizens. So when people tell you that, it's all about incompetence and nothing to do with, intent or malice or whatever, okay. I mean, if millions of Americans were killed on their own soil by their own government, I really don't care about intent at that point. So just remember that some of the things that you've never heard about are not necessarily, absolute war crimes or, black and white police shootings, things that we can point to and say, that was wrong. Sometimes the things that are covered up are incidents that could have led to much greater disasters. And by a stroke of luck, didn't. Start up the engines, check out the ailerons, inspect the cockpits one by one. Forget the fuel tanks, it pays not enough for that. We'll simply glide to safety if it comes to that. 12 planes, always in the sky. Just bring your best sunglasses on this suicidal flight. Over the ocean, losing a lot of fuel. Too much to keep this bird in flight. Not gonna make it. Time for the parachutes. Let's hope the world we land on has not been consumed. 12